Hello, everybody, and welcome back to week 18 of the NFL season. This is Chalk Talk. Today, I'm just joined by Corey. We're going to go ahead and we decided to just do a short video kind of breaking down the Saturday slate. I personally love small slates. I like showdown slates a lot, but I think there's a lot of strategy in these smaller slates. So we're going to go ahead and break this one down. This one, there's a lot of news that can still break. Like, we kind of know what's going to happen, but there is still some unknowns. I think mostly with the Cowboys and the Eagles, like who's actually going to rest and who's going to play. So that mixes things up. But we'll go ahead and try talking through it. The first game, we have Kansas City. So first we'll go ahead and talk through just the plays, like maybe some of our favorite plays, and then we'll go for more of an overall, like how to roster construction, because a lot of times think that's more valuable even than like your favorite plays. But first we'll go ahead and talk about Kansas City, Denver. I don't know. I don't think we need to, instead of talking about individual games, it's two games. We just talk about the plays and like how we think we should be building lineups.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of discussed this the last time. There's a Saturday slate going, and actually it kind of got blown up the first time. And then we had the Christmas slate. So like we've said, there's ways to play these slates and ways to be different. And, like in showdown slates, especially on these 2-game slates, to leave salary on the board is
let's instead of talking about showdown, let's mainly focus on the 2 games.
No, I'm saying
I think with showdown, yeah, you're right.
No, but like even with this, like you can like the 2-game slates, I think that there's a strategy where you can leave some salary on the board. You don't have to spend all of it, like because there's 2 games, 4 teams, so there's a percentage of the chances where if you're going to use all your salary, you're going to be duplicating your lineup most likely with people. So like unlike the big 14 game slates, like on tournaments, usually you don't want to leave any salary, if like maybe like $200. But for like these 2 games, 2-game slate, if you leave $600-$700 on the board, you are getting different. So it's just something to look at. So don't feel like obligated to spend all 50K, because if you do, you're probably going to be duplicating your lineup.
I also, leaving salary is huge. Like, make it a point. Like, if you're playing one lineup or many lineups, like I'm playing 150 lineups, I always max out a few of like the lower dollar tournaments, and then sometimes I'll play some of the single entry higher dollar stuff. But like, I'm making a rule, like I'll never spend the full 50,000. Like I think there's pretty few lineups where you could spend all 50 and not be duplicated somehow, because at the end of the day, your expected value on these tournaments, if you play lineups that are duplicated, is so bad, and it's just not even worth it to play these slates if you're gonna play lineups that are just going to be heavily duplicated. You need to have some like off the wall plays in these small slates. So we'll kind of talk about some of those. So right off the bat, like who's your favorite? Sometimes like the quarterbacks, like if there's 4, depending on the slate, sometimes I will, like there's one slate where I went all in on one quarterback. Sometimes I'll play 2 of them. This one I'm okay with, like even playing 3, but obviously, personally, I think as of now, as long as Dak Prescott's going to be playing the whole game, he's my favorite.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, at 7,500 as well. I think he's going to be less owned than Dak. 1, because of his salary, and then 2, because Philly has already announced that they're playing backups and they're not going to be playing starters. So I feel like more people are going to be
sorry about that,
wanting to like gravitate towards Dak and save the $700 instead of paying up for Mahomes. So I like Mahomes a little bit more than Dak, just for the fact that I like Mahomes is also, the Chiefs are going to also be playing the entire game, unless it gets like the 4th quarter and they're up like 30 points. But see, with each opponent they're playing, like Philly can't go any higher, and Denver's already out of the playoffs. So it's like, how much of these teams really gonna be playing? So that's the question you got to kind of ask. And like, do you? I mean, I trust KC's offense more than I trust Dallas offense right now.
That yeah, I am making it a rule. So I'm having a minimum of one Chief in every lineup and a minimum of one Cowboy. So I just think there's very few instances in which like a player from one of those two teams doesn't end up in the optimal. So like that's one of the rules I'm making off the bat for my lineups. Mahomes is well, honestly, when I was like crunching lineups, I mean, I was getting so much Dak, and then Drew Lock. Like I know Teddy Bridge, but like Drew Lock, we know is going to be probably the lowest owned. Like because even if Minshew plays over Hurts, Minshew will be higher on than Lock.
Yeah.
And by playing Lock, like they're going to be playing from behind most likely, and they're going to have to throw the ball. So I'm not having a ton of him, but like this is a slate where by paying down at only 5,300, it does allow you to like you get what is interesting. You could actually play Lock. So like for example, you could do like Lock, Cortland Sutton. I'm just giving Noah Fant because I do think with every quarterback on this slate besides Jalen Hurts, but I don't think
He's
he
not playing.
plays.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not playing.
He's probably not going to play.
Yeah, so he was the only one where I think you could get away with stacking with just one guy. But Locke, Prescott, Mahomes, I think you'd have to stack like on a short slate like this, like to find the number one scoring QB. Like you need two pass catchers, and I do include running backs as like a pass catcher.
Yeah.
So, like for example, if you do like Locke, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, you could run it back with Tyreek and Kelsey. So, like for example, Mahomes could be the highest scoring quarterback on the whole slate. But Drew Lock be like kind of close to him. Like let's say Mahomes puts up like 21, but like Drew Lock puts up 18. You can fit in Lock, but then you can actually get in like Tyreek and Kelsey and still get other positions to pay up for. So it's like you're playing Mahomes as well. You almost get to play Mahomes by taking his pass catchers, and then you get to play. So I think playing Lock allows you to do some interesting things, and it definitely gets you different. What else? Like, okay, so that's kind of the quarterback. I do think just another comment on quarterbacks is, like I said, I like doing a minimum of two, but a lot of times I'm doing three. And like it's usually a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end. That's when I've researched like past short slates, there's a ton of leverage on doing a quarterback and then running back, wide receiver, tight end as like as your stack. And then of course you definitely want to run that back with someone on the other team. But so yeah, if I'm playing Lock, it's most likely Lock, Gordon or Javonte, Judy or Sutton, and Noah Fant. If I'm playing Prescott, it's going to be with Zeke or Pollard, Lamb or Cooper, Dalton Schultz. Mahomes, Darrell Williams, Kelsey and like Pringle, or Kelsey and Tyreek, or that's kind of what I'm doing with most of my lineups is playing.
I mean, it's a good strategy to go with because, like you said, you're grabbing each different aspect of the game. With a running back, and the quarterback could throw to the running back, or if there's just different ways to get to the top of the mountain when you're grabbing that many players.
It's more of like finding the team that scores like the most points, and you're basically grabbing all the pieces in that game that score the points. So that's kind of what I'm doing. When you're just talking about stacking your quarterback, I think that's the most important. Next we'll go through the running back. So like, what are some of your favorite running back plays?
I mean, obviously Williams at 5,900 for KC. I know Denver's pretty stout against the run. But there's literally no one gonna be. I mean, you could talk about Gore. I know Nick briefly mentioned him last week, and I mean, he went 3 for 37. He's not getting enough.
Like he's like a thin play, but I mean, on a 2-game slate, like
now he's like in consideration to play because if say he does go, hypothetically goes 3 for 40 and a touchdown, like at his salary at 4,500, if no other running back really, or two running backs, explode on the slate, I mean, he could potentially get you to where you need to go to. So, I mean, because So okay, so if Philly's not playing anyone of their starting
Yeah,
three, then
that's the big one.
Zeke and Pollard are going to be the options you want to look at.
Well, no, if Philly, they're gonna have to start someone, and you know who it's gonna be.
No, okay, so I was talking about on the defensive side, but for like running backs for Dallas, but yeah, for yeah, but obviously for Philly, since there's no Scott, Sanders, Howard, it's Gainwell. I mean, he's the only person left.
Yeah. If
I
he
mean,
played the whole game, I mean, he's so hard to get. Like, honestly, what you were saying, I think Gore is like the leverage play off of Gainwell, just purely like from the same price. Isn't Gore like the same price as him?
Gore's 4,500.
Oh, so Gore, yeah, Gore is, yeah. So I mean, it's the same price point. Like if Gore outscored Gainwell, it would be Gore in the optimal and not Gainwell.
Yeah,
So, but that's thin. Like I do think it would be hard for that to happen with Gore being pretty distant RB2 in the Chiefs offense and Gainwell being the RB1 against some of Dallas backups.
I don't know what Dallas is doing. Dallas could be
Micah Parsons is out though, right?
with COVID. Okay, that's one player.
And then Trevon Diggs, I thought was on the like I thought there was some more people added to that list, but
Well, okay, so that's something to keep an eye on then. If Dallas is
yeah. I mean,
basically limp into Saturday night's game.
and this is a point like they drafted this guy and they've looked at like this is their chance to like we're not playing for anything here. We can get our look at Gainwell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's going to touch the ball a lot.
Yeah. I to me, it's Darrell Williams and Gainwell are like the optimal plays. Like if you were playing like cash games in here, I think those would be the two running backs you'd grab. Now in tournaments, maybe it's smart to play one of Darrell Williams and Gainwell, and then your second running back. Well, I guess you could play three in the flex, but then grabbing Zeke, Javonte, Melvin Gordon, Pollard. Pollard probably. What do you think? Pollard is probably like going to be the lowest owned of all these like 6K ish running backs, right?
Well, yeah. Well, it depends on like his health, his foot. I mean, he didn't play it really.
Well, that's why he'll be like the lowest owned.
Well, that's
right?
the thing. Like, what do the Cowboys even want to risk? I mean, using him? Like,
I think he'll play.
you think he plays? I mean, if he does play, does he play more than what he did last week? I mean, I know he left injured. I mean, 3 carries and and 3 receptions, but like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's something to keep track of. Like if he's out and it's just Zeke's backfield, then yeah, Zeke obviously becomes a much better play. Just like and Javonte and Melvin Gordon are both dealing with some injuries as well, but that one's enough. I think Javonte, everyone likes him more. He'll be higher owned, so Melvin is probably the better tournament play. Like I hate Melvin Gordon and I love Javonte Williams, but it just like from a game theory perspective, Melvin Gordon's the better tournament play.
yeah, I mean,
Like you could toss a coin and either one of these guys could score more than one another depending on the workload they get.
yeah, no, definitely. It's hard to see like where they're going to score points because Denver can't move the ball with
I do think you want to get one of Darrell or Gainwell in, as long as they now like if it's Gainwell's backfield, we know it's Darrell's backfield, but if we know it's Darrell's backfield and Gainwell and the other ones are in timeshares, I think you want one of Gainwell or Williams, if not both, and then one of these other guys.
Yeah,
That's kind of my thought on it.
It's just yeah, it's just especially with the Denver backfield. I don't know.
I don't think you play. I think some people might get weird and like play like Javonte and Melvin Gordon together. Like I think you need to strongly avoid that.
I mean,
some people that might do like it'll be different. You'll get different, but I think taking two running backs from the same team, I don't know. I think that's pretty thin.
it is thin. I mean, they've done it a couple times this year where they've each gotten there, but they've done it against. I'm pretty sure they did it against the Lions, which obviously we know the Lions are terrible against the run.
Yeah. I just don't know if any of these defenses are like bad enough to where it just can just let two running backs in the same team be an optimal. If it was if there was a terrible defense on one of these sides, maybe.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just really difficult to try and figure that out.
So who would you say is your favorite?
My favorite, if Pollard misses, it's going to be Zeke because I think the Eagles are really going to sit down a lot of their starting defensive linemen, there's no
Yeah.
point. They can't go anywhere. So, and
No, I
Dallas,
still think mine's Gainwell for his price, but
yeah, I mean, I don't mind Gainwell, but it's the issue like with the talent in front of him. Like if you have backup offensive linemen, which the Eagles are going to have in, they're not playing their starting offensive linemen. So that's
yeah, I just have a feeling. I don't know. Yeah, that's what sucks. Like we can't really film this on Saturday because it's too late. But
yeah,
that's when a lot of the news is gonna break. But I think it comes down to like news that breaks with some of these defenses and who's starting and who's out. But
like my strategy might be going into this is literally just take Kansas City Chiefs players and Cowboys players. That's it.
that'll be the chalky way to do things. But
I understand, but it's like if you want to win money, like I understand you're okay to win like the top prize, you're gonna need
you need an
rock
off the wall play. So like here, well, let's go through some of the other positions. Then we'll kind of see if we can like build out just a few lineups and see like where you can get different. Like if you're taking chalky pieces, like how you have to stand out.
Yeah.
So going through receiver, this is personally where I think this is where you get off the wall. Like the receiver is the most volatile position. It's with especially with some of these backups that might be playing. This is where I don't think you would just play like, for example, Tyreek, Lamb, and I don't know, Cedric Wilson's gonna be really popular this week because Gallup's out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you do something like that. Like that's I think you need to strongly avoid. I think you can get like one of these top guys, like maybe Lamb or Tyreek, but then you need to get different. And I think in your second and third, or a minimum of one of your spots needs to be like a pretty oddball play. I think that's how you take down these tournaments.
Yeah.
Like what the last time we talked, it was that Raider. It was I know the slate got blown up, but I was talking about how if the Raiders were on that slate, I was all over the Raiders receivers, and that's when like Zay Jones fell into the optimal. And even Brian Edwards was in there for a while, and they were super, super low owned. We're talking under 10% on a 2-game slate. So that's what we're going to need to find. This is where you get different. This is where you find the winners.
Yeah. Okay. So this is me bouncing off of Eagles not planning one. I mean, Eagles have Devontae Smith as a receiver, and then that's it. I mean, Watkins, Ward, Rager, Whiteside, and then you have Deion Kane there at 3K. I mean, you're expecting all these guys to get in the game at some point this week if since the Eagles aren't playing for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you probably look to see, okay, who is probably a stud on the like second team offense that's going to be playing a lot. I mean, and I think it's going to be Rager. I think because of his potential of where they drafted him, and I think they got to see what he's really. I mean, good
like
for.
how he can contribute in the playoffs or something.
Yeah, I mean, he's caught the ball 31 times this year as a first round draft pick last year.
Yeah.
So he needs to step up. So I think he's a spot where you can get to. He's probably gonna be. I don't know how popular he's going to be, but me thinking that he's going to be like a starting.
he won't be popular like that. Yeah, if you're playing, that's Now I think it can get dicey. Like for example, if the Eagles are the only team that say we're resting all of our starters, so our starting receiver core is Rager, Watkins, and Greg Ward. Well, then ownership, like these will become the favorite punt options for everybody on the whole slate. These will become everyone's favorite punt options. And I think most people will gravitate probably towards Rager because he's like the most known.
Yeah.
And so Quez Watkins or like JJ Arcega-Whiteside, some of these guys where people are like, I'm not playing that guy. Then I think those would be the better Eagles play over like Rager.
Yeah.
I don't think you play like multiple of these guys though. Like you get like, I don't think you would play like Rager and Watkins in the same lineup. I think that's doing it bad.
Don't do that.
You limit your upside, I think, too much. But I think so at the high end, it's obvious like Tyreek's gonna be 50+% owned. We know that. Lamb is gonna be up there, probably easily above 30%, probably 40+%. Cooper, maybe in the 30s. Devontae Smith, he'll probably be like, people are probably going to go towards Cooper Lamb and Tyreek over Devontae Smith. So I think Devontae Smith in the mid range is probably your best leverage, just because
Yeah, if he plays.
if he plays, if not, then yeah, you can just cross him out. I do think one of these Broncos guys get there though. That's kind of like, I think the Broncos provide some leverage because one, I don't think people are really going to want to play these guys. And they're at a reasonable price point, and they're going to be playing from behind and forced to throw. So I think my favorite is probably, well, I mean, if you're bringing tight ends to it, I probably like Fant the most of like all the pass catchers, but like of Judy, Sutton, and Tim Patrick will be the lowest owned. I think Cortland Sutton would be the go-to. I like best. Like, I think would you play Judy or Sutton? Like, if you were just like straight up, like no, not ownership. Like, if you knew ownership was the same, like, who would you rather play?
I'd rather play Sutton. I think he's right now. I think he's a better pass catcher than Judy is.
Yeah. Well, see, to me, these two guys are like the same play at the same price, and I just want whoever's lower owned. So when it comes out, when more ownership projections come in as it gets closer, I'll probably just be underweight on the higher owned guy and overweight on the lower owned guy.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would guess so between Sutton and Judy. I bet.
Don't you think Judy would be more popular?
No, I think Sutton's going to be more popular because of his price tag at 4,600.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I like Judy more.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I was just thinking, like, well, if Judy's 500 more, people are going to be maybe gravitating towards a lower owned player at 4,600 who literally is doing the same thing that Judy's doing. It's not like
okay.
So I could see Judy being less popular, which
and we know Tim Patrick will be the least owned.
Yeah, for sure.
So like this is where you need to get different. Then when you get down towards Cedric Wilson, probably one of the most popular guys, right? Won't you think?
Easily.
Yeah. So Tim Patrick is, when we talk about the leverage, perfect leverage off of that. I think a lot like Sutton, Patrick, and Judy were all coming lower owned than Wilson. So I think that's good leverage off of Wilson. And then beneath Wilson is when we already talked about Watkins and Rager. Then you have the Chiefs guys, Pringle, Hardman, and Robinson. It's a crapshoot with these guys.
Yeah.
But any three of them could have that touchdown that Mahomes throws to. So therefore, all three of them are in my player pool. I'm assuming Demarcus Robinson is the least owned of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, he caught one pass. I mean, he caught a touchdown last week, but
yeah, he's my least favorite of the three. I think Pringle is like the best, like, because he runs the most routes. But like, if, for example, if Pringle and Hardman and Robinson's ownership are all about the same, yeah, then I like Pringle the most. But I do think this is my prediction. I do think one of these guys, like down here, like maybe like Pringle, Watkins, Hardman, Robinson, or Rager, I think one of them, like, even if they score like 7 points or something, or 9 points, I don't know, like, I think they could still be in the optimal.
Oh, they definitely could be, which is why
like a strong possibility.
Josh Gordon scares me, especially, I mean, if you're talking about someone get like 7 or 8 points, I mean, Josh Gordon, I understand.
Wouldn't it be something that Josh Gordon would win a slate in week 18?
I know. I mean, he's gotten, one max target, he's gotten his 3, and he only has 5 catches on the year.
They do need to win this game too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be like 1% owned.
It's just like another person there to be thrown.
Yeah, it is. It's just like another person that you have to like somewhat consider. So like, okay, so now we kind of went through like ownership and some of the leverage plays. Who are your, like, is there some of these guys you're like, all right, I have to have them in my lineup, or that you're going to really be focusing on here?
Well, like I said, I think my strategy is going to be, I know it's the chalkiest, is the KC Dallas players. And then if that's the case.
Yeah, but there's ways to play those players and be different. Like we talked about those, like Pringle, Hardman, Robinson.
I think Pringle is probably like my favorite play, like out of all the receivers, to be honest, because he's emerged right now as the third guy over the last, He's gonna be probably the
Yeah,
more
no, he
popular
is. He
one,
is. He is. Yeah.
but he's he's out. So he's 37 receptions compared to where's Hardman? Hardman
Yeah, but
has
like he kind of
51.
took over. Like
Yeah,
Hardman was early on, then they didn't like it. Now they've gone to Pringle.
yeah. So I trust Pringle more than I do Hardman. So I'm gonna be all over Pringle. He's gonna be in all my lineups for sure, especially as price range 3,900. I mean, if you're doing like, so this is what so if I'm doing Mahomes, so I'm doing Mahomes, Tyreek. I almost want to play Kelsey with it too,
You
and
can. I
then
think there's value where you
and then
can.
also throw in Pringle there. That's 4 pass catchers, and then just hope that Darrell Williams doesn't get there, because if he gets there one
Wait,
time,
what are the four? You said Pringle,
oh sorry, 3, sorry,
Tyreek. Yeah, so you
Pringle,
could. Yeah,
Tyreek,
that's three.
Kelsey. Like I'm playing Kelsey. I don't. I mean, I think he's arguably one of the best players on the slate. I mean, it doesn't help that he's what is he?
Okay, so you like Pringle in the low range. So I'm trying to think of like, okay, what's your? I guess Pringle is one of the off the wall plays because he will be like everyone's going to go to Cedric Wilson over Pringle. But like in the mid range, because obviously it's like Tyreek, Pringle, Kelsey. Now you have that other receiver
Yeah,
spot.
so after from Jerry Judy, it drops. I mean, drops 500, and then you're down below. So
Maybe. So do you think Tim Patrick fits your build, like ownership wise?
see, I just can't trust Drew Lock enough to like go that
Yeah,
way.
but if you're stacking three guys on Kansas City, I don't know. I feel like the only way, like that's why I personally like when I'm stacking Mahomes with like three guys, like I have to bring it back with either Javante, Melvin Gordon, one of the pass catchers. No, a fan. I think you have to have a Bronco
See, I don't know if you necessarily do in this position, because what are the
in
Broncos?
a main slate. I don't know if you would have to. Also, you wouldn't stack three in a main slate. That's like
No,
overboard. But in a small slate where one, it's still very likely a Bronco. One of these Broncos is gonna like score a touchdown, right? Like, do you think the Broncos score a touchdown in this game?
I don't know if they do, to be
Stop.
really
Okay,
honest.
so the odds of them scoring one or two touchdowns is very high.
Yeah, I mean,
And so when you think like someone scoring that touchdown,
I think they get on the ground. I don't think it's
okay, so then you would bring it back with
yeah,
Jordan.
Melvin Gordon. Yeah,
Okay, that's my point though. And
yeah.
like in these small slates, like someone scoring the touchdown, and I think touchdowns are obviously the most valuable thing on these small slates.
Well, so if that's the case, I like Javante Williams over Melvin Gordon, not just because of his his pure ability,
Corey, I
but
feel like you've gone the chalk route. Yeah, so far I've heard Patrick Mahomes, Javante Williams, which yeah, he'll probably be lower on some other guys. Then you said you liked Daryl, or no, you like was it Daryl Williams? No, you like Zeke if Pollard's out.
yeah.
But honestly, I don't think you can afford Zeke, Javante, Mahomes, Tyreek, and Kelsey.
Let me just
Yeah, just try to build that out real quick. I'm curious as well.
Zeke, Javante. Let's get Pringle here. Tyreek.
Okay, so if you built that out, it's Mahomes, Zeke, Javante,
Pringle, Tyreek, Kelsey.
Tyreek.
So 3 positions left at 3,600.
36. Okay, you got a defense. You'd probably, let me guess, Cowboys.
I mean, sure. So then so I'd say Cowboys 3,900 left.
Okay, so I'm curious. This is where like you would have to like
You go Gainwell, and then you have 3,800 for receiver, and that gives you a receiver from Philly that we were talking
But
about.
see, this is what I was talking about, where I think you're stretching yourself maybe a little thin, playing like Pringle and like you like Watkins.
No,
You
I
know what
played
I'm saying?
Rager instead. No,
Rager. Okay, Rager.
yeah, it doesn't matter. I know it's still like you're taking. I'm expecting literally one touchdown. Yeah, I mean,
I think for that type of lineup to get there is where like Tyreek and Kelsey, like Mahomes is going crazy. Like
yeah,
that's the only way I think that lineup
exactly.
gets there, to where like Rager could score like 7 and Pringle could score like 7, but because Tyreek, Zeke, Javante, they're all getting like ceiling games, like you basically needed them all. And the
Yeah.
only way to get them all is to play these like 2 cheap guys that don't do anything.
Well, that's the thing
That's
though.
the
Like,
only way that lineup hits.
no, exactly. And like I said, if Darrell Williams has like a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, I mean that's ruined. Like
Yeah,
that lineup is immediately ruined.
correct.
Well, like I said, it's a very risky play, but I mean, Kansas City or the Denver's defense,
That's
I mean,
like, yeah. So
they're
it's
playing
like
everyone,
literally
and they're
stars and scrubs. Like that's literally what that lineup is.
yeah. But the Denver Broncos are good against the run, so it's like okay, well, and they're a good defense against the pass as well. So,
Okay.
but
Well,
it's a thought to have, but
no, yeah, I get it. I was just trying to see like based off of like your construction, like where you're going, like where you were going to get different from the field and like have a unique lineup. And
well, I mean, you could even go with like Richard Rodgers because the tight end position for Philly is like
yeah,
um,
like so yeah, that would be like your play to where you need
use
that
tight
play
end.
to
Yeah,
really get you to separate yourself from the field because everything else is like a lot higher owned.
yeah.
Um,
This I think this is also a week where you could easily get away with 2 tight ends
oh yeah, I like I'll probably have like
like Schultz.
20 plus percent of my line. Schultz is my favorite tight end. So now
Yeah.
we'll get ahead and get into tight ends. Kelsey, he's good. Like I think in my so when I'm playing Mahomes, I probably will have Kelsey in my lineup. Like,
Yeah.
but in all my Dak lineups, I think I'm playing Schultz. And I will have some like when I'm playing Dak and Schultz, like I'll have some where Kelsey's in the flex and some with where Kelsey and Mahomes and then Schultz is in the flex. But for the most part, like for one, I've been targeting Eagles
Yeah.
against tight ends all year long, and now I get them on a small slate. Schultz is like now with Gallup out, like if Dak's playing this whole game, is like he's one of my absolute favorite plays on the whole slate. And but I think Noah Fant's in a great spot as well. Like obviously when everyone's there healthy, like now Judy's back and Tim Patrick, like his target share goes down and Albert O steals some stuff as well. But you do attack Kansas City kind of with tight ends and Fant is a very athletic tight end. So I kind of like him, but yeah, Schultz is in my absolute favorite tight end play. I'll have like so much of him. And then defenses, I'm not playing the Broncos, like just quickly running through, like I'm not playing a defense against Mahomes. And then the Eagles, like I'm not gonna if Dak is playing the whole game, I'm not playing the Eagles against Dak when I can play the Cowboys against
Yeah.
a backup Eagles quarterback and the Chiefs against Drew Lock.
Yeah. I mean,
And they'll be the most again, they're the 2 highest owned defenses, but
sure.
I'm fine with that. I'll
Yeah,
play.
some of these times you just have to do that because when
Yeah.
you try to get cute with, Eagles or Broncos, you're just
Yeah, I mean, especially I think the Broncos defense against Mahomes. I just
the only way the Broncos stay relevant is that they get like 2
yeah, it'd
sacks.
be like lucky defensive touchdown, I think, is how these other defenses would get there. But so now like we kind of talked about the plays. So now like kind of going through like building lineups. Like I was talking, you can't share your screen though, can you?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because once we'll build a few lineups, like going kind of through like we'll do each team, even if we'll do like a Minshew team, just to kind of see like if you're playing this team, like how you strategically build it. Okay, let's want to start off with the Mahomes team.
Yeah, let's see Mahomes team.
Okay, so like if I'm playing Mahomes, I think I personally like doing running back, wide receiver, tight end.
Okay. So you
So
Williams
let's like see what that kind of looks like.
and tight end.
Kelsey. And then I guess we could see what Tyreek would look like, but I don't know. I think
it's gonna be way too. I think
I mean we can do it. It's just I think we'll just see what the Tyreek version looks like and then seeing what like the Pringle version looks like.
Okay.
So now defense, usually if I'm playing like the Mahomes stack and then bringing it back with Denver guys is when I'd play Cowboys defense.
Okay.
And when I'm doing the Dallas stack, I'll play the Chiefs. but I still will have some Chiefs defense, even like a complete onslaught of Denver.
Yeah.
I'll use Chiefs defense, but typically when I'm playing single entry, like the spy, this is how I construct it. So now we want to bring it back with at least a Denver guy.
So you
So
went down to
probably,
receiver.
yeah, Patrick Judy or Sutton.
Patrick Judy.
Patrick Judy or Sutton. What do you think?
You mean Jerry Judy or Tim Patrick?
I said Patrick Sutton or Judy.
You said Patrick Judy Sutton.
Patrick Judy.
You made it sound like it was the same name.
Oh,
I would say, obviously,
it doesn't. This is more of just like showing how you construct it. So I think you'd pick one of these three guys. Let's just, Tim Patrick, you get the most different. So we can go ahead and do that. Running back I said you can play Gainwell and Darrell Williams, but Gainwell will be really popular.
so it just shows
you can put him in there. And then you have a wide receiver and flex. So now you want to get a Dallas guy. Like I said, I want a Dallas player. So, we could put Schultz in there and go double tight end.
Schultz, yeah.
Schultz and Lamb are my favorite Cowboys.
Yeah. So then you're left 4,800.
And that would let you, this would be at the receiver spot. And it would probably be, you don't want to, it could be an Eagles guy, like another Eagles guy. And I'm fine with playing like two
against
players against the defense. I don't know if I'd go with three. Like I've seen it happen before, but it gets a little thin where three optimal like players and then the defense. I think two is where you cap it out. Yeah. So I think like maybe we could put Rager in there.
So then you leave 1,800 or no? Okay. Yeah, you leave 1,800 on the board.
And you have Tyreek and Kelsey.
Yeah, which is insane.
Like, so that this is an example, like you play something maybe chalkier, like a lot of people might have that little Mahomes, Tyreek, Kelsey stack. But I think the leverage in this type of lineup is one, you leave 1,800. That's huge. Two, playing that third pass catcher with your quarterback. And a lot of people don't like playing running back with their quarterback. Playing Darrell Williams with Mahomes, I think is leverage. And then Gainwell's chalky, that's fine. Tim Patrick, major leverage. And then Rager, I think right now is still leverage. So that lineup is very unique.
Yeah.
Now doing the same, now let's go ahead and do a Dak Prescott build.
Yep. Here's Dak. And you're going to want
Pollard or Zeke, I think. I think Pollard catches the ball a little bit more, but Zeke does as well.
Let's just assume Pollard's out.
Okay, if we assume Pollard's out, then we'll just go ahead and do Zeke in this one. Lamb is like my favorite. I think Cooper will be if Darius Slay still plays on their defense. Like I
don't think anyone plays on this. I really don't.
Well, Cooper also was maybe dealing with a little more injuries. I could see like if they decided like, okay, we're going to rotate some guys out more. I think I could see Cooper getting rotated out more.
Okay. So you like CD more?
Yeah. Lamb, I think is due for a massive game here as well.
And then Schultz.
Yeah. And Schultz. And so now we want to get our Philly guy. So I think Gainwell is a good option here. And then defense, we go Chiefs in this lineup, I think.
Yep. And then you go to receiver. So now you have receiving options. So then is this where you go to say
we need Chief. So whether that's Tyreek, Kelsey, cheap guy, or Darrell Williams.
So I think this is, so let's say Hill. Okay. So 4,600, and then you go to a Denver.
Yeah, I want a Bronco. So the last time we did Patrick, I guess we could throw Judy in this one.
So Judy, so 4,100 left for your flex.
Then I think that's where you could get your cheap. Well, for example, like what I was saying, like you could, if you play another Chief in here, like say Pringle, it's almost like you're playing Mahomes in this lineup as well, because And that's
Yeah.
kind of what you kind of are on track to do anyway, is you want to like stack the Chiefs and Cowboys, because then it's almost like you're playing both of the quarterbacks.
Yep.
So Pringle, and you leave 200, so not the greatest. But again, I think you're leveraging these types of lineups are playing 3 guys with Dak.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And then, and if you wanted to get really different, if you think Judy, like to really just lower your ownership, is just put Tim Patrick instead of Judy or something. And
Yeah, you leave 800.
like you could literally make the same lineup. Like this is a lot of times what I do. You make the same lineup and then you just filter out all the Broncos, make the same lineup, filter out the other Chiefs guys. Like that's how I construct. I have like my core rules I make, and then I just like start filtering guys out.
Yeah, I'm saving. I'm gonna enter these in, by the way.
Okay. One of them is gonna win.
Yeah.
Now I'll go ahead and do a Minshew.
Yeah.
Okay, so Minshew, Gaineswell. Devontae Smith? Do you think he sits though, right?
I think he sits.
Okay, so throw Rager in there, Quez Watkins.
Let's go Watkins this time.
Okay. And then probably the tight end, whoever, is it Jack Stoll or is it going to be?
I think it's probably gonna be Rodgers. He's
okay.
Richard
Richard Rodgers. He'll
Yeah.
be super low owned. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Chiefs, or now we can, Chiefs defense, because we played the Philly. So Chiefs D, and then got to get our Chiefs in here. So do you think it's like, I think are you going to get Kelsey or Tyreek in every lineup? Like one of the two at least?
I think so. It's definitely be one of the.
I think you have to have at least one of Darrell Williams, Kelsey, or Tyreek. I don't think you can fade all 3.
No. If anything, I'm fading more Darrell Williams than.
See, I think I'm going to fade more Kelsey out of between the 3. Yeah. Like I'm going to have more Tyreek and Darrell over Kelsey.
So this one, do you want to do Darrell and then also Tyreek here?
Yeah, we can do that.
So then you have
and then we have still 8,600 left.
Yeah, that's your average. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how you get different. So it's like now we can pay up. We can get Lamb in here.
Yep.
And 84, we could still get Kelsey or Zeke.
Yeah.
Kelsey or Zeke.
So
and again, that by playing Kelsey, I don't know. See, this is like where I don't know if you play Kelsey, because this is the reasoning. If I put Kelsey in there, I'll show you why. If you put Kelsey in this one, so by leaving 3,400, you could have had Mahomes in this lineup. Yeah. And if Kelsey and Tyreek and Darrell Williams are going off, Mahomes is likely outscoring Minshew there.
Yeah.
So if in this lineup, I think Zeke makes more sense, because you're basically saying Mahomes doesn't get there. Like Tyreek scores a rushing touchdown, Darrell scores a rushing touchdown, and Mahomes doesn't get there, and that's why Gardner Minshew's in the winner.
Yeah, this is like the Darrell Williams gets 2 rushing touchdowns, and
Tyreek gets the rushing as well.
Or even Patrick Mahomes just throws 1 touchdown.
Throws like 1, and then Tyreek gets a rushing, but Tyreek does score those rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I know. Those little shovels.
So that's why I think Tyreek's a better option than Kelsey, because Kelsey doesn't really score those.
Yeah.
So that's how that lineup would get there, is Mahomes is like failing kind of, and the Chiefs defense can score a touchdown. That's also why Mahomes would get there.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of that way. This lineup, I guarantee, is like, I don't even know if anyone will have that. 3,700 on the table while playing Minshew.
Yeah, we'll see.
Now we'll do Drew Lock, which this is one where it's like kind of in the middle, where I think to me, playing Drew Lock, you're essentially playing Mahomes. And my strategy playing Drew Lock is like, you're playing Mahomes, but you needed the other pieces that are more expensive to get there, where Lock and Mahomes aren't too far off. So in this lineup, I think you do stack Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah. And then
so I think you go like Tyreek and Kelsey.
Okay. So Tyreek and Kelsey.
Yes, because you're like that's just how I think this lineup makes sense, because it's like the Chiefs and Broncos are like shooting out, and it's just Drew Lock. Yeah. is close enough. So now I would go probably Cowboys defense, I would think. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It'd be Cowboys or Eagles, but I would go Cowboys.
Cowboys. Okay. And then is this where you're grabbing? We should be grabbing a running back for a Drew Lock.
This is where we would definitely get a running back with Drew Lock and another pass catcher minimum.
Yeah.
So like Javonte, I like more than Gordon
Yeah,
and
I do
Flock.
too.
Catches more. So now, yeah, probably trying to think of who has the most upside with Lock. I mean, it's probably one of Judy or Sutton.
Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
say
I mean, to be honest, just
Shoot.
we'll put one of these guys in, but just know that you can just filter either one of these guys, any of these three Broncos guys.
And then wait, do you want Noah Fant instead?
You can. I don't necessarily like Drew Lock. I don't know necessarily
It's
has
I
like
don't
you
think
you
you can-
can like I'll have lineups where I have Lock, running back, receiver, and tight end, but he just that upside on him is pretty limited to support that many guys. So running back, like this is a lineup. So I think you do get Lamb in here because you're trying to pay up for the studs with Lock. Lamb's at the top, and then we have 2 spots left, and that's 4,600. We
So
still
you
need
want
an Eagle, so
Gainwell,
Gainwell,
and it leaves you
and then you have
52.
5,200, which allows you could put Fant in here, like that would fit perfectly, or you could put Tim Patrick in here. You could put. I don't think you don't get a third Chief. I don't think.
No.
Tyreek.
You go. I was gonna say you could go.
Do we have
We have one Cowboy.
5,200? Like this is where you could go Cedric Wilson, right?
That's what I was
Because
just thinking. Yeah.
you're leaving 1,000,
Yeah.
and Lock. You can't get to Mahomes by going Lock. Like
Nope.
what is it? Because you'd still be at 6,300, so it's not like you could have paid up for Mahomes. So I think this lineup does make sense, but I don't think you can leave enough salary to where Lock to Mahomes makes sense. Like
No.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, because then
You don't
you just pay for
just play Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to leave like just enough to where you can't reach Mahomes with the salary. So yeah, you could filter out Wilson and Tim Patrick and those guys. So that's kind of some strategy I think for these slates is you can play obviously some of the chalk. You can't avoid it really. Like you
No, you
need to
can't.
play some of the good pieces, and then you get different with how you build your lineup, and then having like those 1 or 2 low owned guys.
Yeah, no, you definitely, this is definitely a spot where you're double, triple stacking, even quadruple stacking in some cases.
There was one year, I think it was last year. I almost want to say it was like 6 Bills.
That's absurd.
I think it was Bills defense, Allen, and 4 pass and the running back, 2 receivers, and the tight end. Like it was a complete like onslaught. But it's very rare that like something like that gets there.
But this is the week for it to happen because some teams are resting players, or some teams aren't playing starters, or have nothing to play for, as we've talked about, where they might be trying out second, third string, fourth string guys just to see what they have on the roster going into next year. So
exactly. So that's a breakdown of this Saturday slate. You like the Mahomes out at sound, or was it
Mahomes? It was
Mahomes is your favorite, right? Yeah. So Chiefs and Cowboys on his side, but getting different with like the
one or the very low.
The low owned plays and some of those receiver spots. But hope you guys found some type of nugget that helps you with these slates and thinking about them in a strategic perspective. But yeah, we'll be back next week for our normal shows that we do, and a lot more of these short slates to come. So
we have playoff football now, so there's going to be Saturday, Sunday, Monday games. So
okay, well that about does it. This is Chalk Talk, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.